Recently, the sport of tennis said goodbye to an absolute legend when Roger Federer played his last game of professional tennis. He touched many throughout his storied and legendary career and was undoubtedly an inspiration for many young players to pick up the racket in the first place. One such player, Felix Auger-Aliassime, stood across the court from him in his last game and had plenty to say about the experience. Let's get into it. When did Federer retire? What were the details of his final match? It was a little over a month ago at the time of writing that Federer dropped a major bombshell on the sporting world. It was on September 15, 2022, when he made the announcement that his return at the Laver Cup would also be his last time playing at a major, as he was retiring from the ATP Tour after that. This came after he missed a full year with injury after needing surgery on his knee following a disappointing show at Wimbledon 2021. And at 41 years of age, with such severe injuries mounting, he felt that the time was right to call time on his storied career. He retires with many records still held, including being the ATP #1 for 237 consecutive weeks. He's an 8-time men's singles Wimbledon champion and 6-time year-end champion, both of which are also a record. The Laver Cup is an appropriate place for him to end his career because it's a tournament that he helped create. It was his idea to have an event that pit Europe, the dominant region in tennis by that point, against the world. Owing to the dominance that the Big Three have had over the rest of the tennis world, they won the first 4 straight competitions. However, as if one last sign of the times and the winds of change, the 2022 Laver Cup was the first time in which the European team was bested by the international squad. At this event, Roger Federer's last ever match came on September 23rd when he appropriately teamed up with his oldest rival, Rafael Nadal, to square off against Jack Sock and Francis Tiafoe. The younger American duo ended up beating the two legends, putting an early end to the retirement run. Another man who played a key role in Team World's win was one Felix Auger-Aliassime. The 22-year-old Canadian is seen as a hot prospect, and the Laver Cup ended up being quite the coming-out party for him. He was an asset to his squad, competing in 3 matches in as many days. Alongside Sock, he took down Matteo Berrettini and another legend, Andy Murray, on September 25th, the last day of the Cup. Then, hours later, he would shockingly upset Novak Djokovic, getting a massive win for his young career and helping all but cinch his team's victory. We don't want to make Federer feel old here. It's really more that it makes it apparent how young Felix really is here when we say that Federer won pro tennis in 1998, 2 years before the Canadian upstart was born. Suffice it to say, he grew up watching Federer and his contemporaries, and as such, he looks up to him quite a bit as one of his idols who helped him inspire him along. So it meant a lot to be there watching him, and he wasn't shy about letting everyone know about it in preceding interviews. What did Felix Auger-Aliassime have to say about seeing Federer at the Laver Cup? Felix revealed that following Federer's last match, just moments after he walked off the court for the final time, he approached the youngster and took the time to wish him well. In talking to Eurosport, he said that Roger, being the nice person that he is, took the time to give everyone around the court a hug, sharing an embrace with all his fellow players on what would be the last day he could call himself one of their contemporaries. He then noted Federer's words to him, quote, "He just said, 'I wish you a great career, Felix,' and just that moment, that phrase, was truly special for me," end quote. He says that he will keep that moment close to his heart because, after all, this was very much his night, so it meant a lot to him that he would still be thinking of others and taking the time to wish him the best in his career going forward. Obviously, Federer sees a lot in Auger-Aliassime, as does the rest of the tennis world, and after seeing him at the Laver Cup, it's certainly no wonder as to why. Felix, of course, reiterated the sentiment, wishing Federer well in whatever he chose to do next, as well as thank him for everything that he had done for the sport. No doubt he was a pioneer and someone who did much to help popularize tennis. Shockwaves that emanated from Federer's homeland of Switzerland all the way across the Atlantic to Canada in this instance. This is true judging by how he mentioned his amazement by the way Federer inspired the youth. Already in his young career, Auger-Aliassime has had some deep Grand Slam runs and found himself ranked among the top 10, and if he can beat Novak Djokovic, he can probably beat anybody in the world right now, so the sky is truly the limit for the kid. Even so, hearing those kinds of words from his hero clearly meant the world to him. He added that if he has the opportunity to thank him again, he will, because he deserves all the praise and all the good words. He called him humble, generous, and kind, and stated that he'd always treated him well from the very first time he met him at the age of 17. He recalls when Federer invited the youngster to train and the good moments on and off the court that they shared. He concluded by saying, quote, "He has always been really generous with his time and with his kindness. Above all, that is how I will remember his career," end quote. The two of them faced off precisely one time in a professional context. That came in the 2021 Halle Open last year. Federer was seeded number 5 at this tournament, but ended up getting upset in the second round by none other than Auger-Aliassime, who at the time was still unseeded. It was a victory that really took the world by by notice, and as such, he will now always have a winning record against one of the greatest of all time. What else is going on in the world of tennis? Though she didn't receive a warning for it, reigning women's #1 Iga Swiatek came under fire on social media for effectively a wave of a hand during her fierce battle with Donna Vekic at the 2022 San Diego Open final. Here, the two of them battled back and forth, with the top-seeded Swiatek facing off with major underdog Vekic in a fairly close match as they traded the first 2 sets, only for Swiatek to finish her off in the third. Swiatek not only took the win, but made some history at this event, as she became the first player since Serena Williams in 2013 to manage to score 10,000 points within a single season, a truly mesmerizing achievement, but one that did not come without a hint of controversy. In the break point of the second set, during a furious rally, as the soon-to-be champ faced a deficit, she raced towards the net for a very tricky get, raising her hands up and shaking her arms before sending the volley back. While there were no official warnings handed down for this caused many Twitter referees to come up in arms and call her for hindrance. For those new to the sport, hindrance is effectively the name of a penalty in tennis, and it refers to anything a player might do to distract the other player whilst they're trying to get a volley off. Whether or not that was intentional or just a nervous tick, it obviously didn't affect Vekic, since she not only won that rally, but ended up taking that set before going down in the next. As she celebrated her title win, Swiatek sent out a tweet saying the following, quote, "This is the best prize trophy ever. Thank you, San Diego, for an amazing, cloudy week and this unique vibe. I love it here. And congrats at Donna Vekic for your amazing run, and sorry for waving my hands at the net." End quote. A small, quiet, but very much present little apology there at the end of the tweet was all that she had to say, and fair enough, since ultimately it's just a footnote to the victory and the history that was made on that day. Swiatek is the reigning woman to beat in tennis right now, and looks poised to close out as the year-end #1. And that is all the time we have for today's video. Were you watching when Federer took the court in an ATP match for the final time of the 2022 Laver Cup? And if so, did you stick around afterwards to see the world finally take its first win in the series? Are you excited for what comes next for Felix Auger-Aliassime as he and others look to helm the next generation of tennis? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, thanks for watching.